Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna, devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Good Maharaj. Vijayamati, when you're ready, can start, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chiva Narottamam Devim Swaraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nasta Preshu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Text 1. The personality of Godhead, Kapila, continued, My dear mother, now I shall describe unto you the different categories of the Absolute Truth, knowing which any person can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature. Text 2. Knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self-realization. I shall explain that knowledge unto you by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut. Text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Soul, and He has no beginning. He is the transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because He is self-effulgent, and by His self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. Text 4. As His pastime, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest of the great, accepted the subtle material energy, which is invested with three material modes of nature and which is related with Vishnu. Text 5. Divided into varieties by her threefold modes, material nature creates the forms of the living entities, and the living entities, seeing this, are illusioned by the knowledge-covering feature of the illusory energy. Text 6. Because of his forgetfulness, the transcendental living entity accepts the influence of material energy as his field of activities, and thus actuated, he wrongly applies the activities to himself. Text 7. Material consciousness is the cause of one's conditional life, in which conditions are enforced upon the living entity by the material energy. Although the spirit soul does not do anything and is transcendental to such activities, he is thus affected by conditional life. Text 8. The cause of the conditioned soul's material body and senses, and the senses presiding deities, the demigods, is the material nature. This is understood by learned men. The feelings of happiness and distress of the soul, who is transcendental by nature, are caused by the spirit soul himself. Text 9. Devahuti said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, kindly explain the characteristics of the Supreme Person and his energies, for both of these are the cause of this manifest and unmanifest creation. Text 10. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the unmanifested eternal combination of the three modes is the cause of the manifest state and is called pradhana. It is called prakriti when in the manifested stage of existence. Text 11. The aggregate elements, namely the 5 gross elements, the 5 subtle elements, the 4 internal senses, the 5 senses for gathering knowledge, and the 5 outward organs of action, are known as the pradhana. Text 12. There are 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. There are also 5 subtle elements: smell, taste, color, touch, and sound. I'll end here. Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vijayamati. Hare Krishna. Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji. Rasa Candrika, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam to all the Vaishnavas here. We'll start with a little bit of prayers. Om Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Prabhuji, can I share the screen?
Yes, Mate, yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. So we are doing the next chapter, chapter number 26. We are doing shlok number 1 to 12 today. So in the first shloka, Bhagavan Vacha, Kapil is saying that he is going to, he's telling the most important thing to understand Lord himself is bhakti. So, devotional service. So, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have been instructed that we have to understand the personal form of Lord, his internal, his external energies, his expansions, his incarnations, and we have to do a proper analytical study. Unless that proper analytical study is not done, we are not going to be able to understand Lord properly, and then executing the devotional service becomes a little tough. So, Sankhya philosophy is a philosophy that will help people in the conditioned state of life to come out. In the previous chapter, we had discussed about the preliminary knowledge, which was already given to us. And now Kapil Dev is telling that we have to do a stronger analytical study where we can understand the aspects of Krishna very well so that executing of Premamai Bhakti becomes very natural. Then in text 2, here, similar text my Prabhu helped me find was from Bhagavad Gita also. In Bhagavad Gita 4.37, I'll just read the translation. It says, as a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burns to ashes all the reaction of material activities. So here the emphasis is on knowledge. When we have knowledge, we will be able to cut the knots of material attachment. A similar aspect is being explained by Kapil Dev also, saying that the most important thing is having knowledge. So here Sankhya Yoga gives us knowledge of how to execute bhakti. And in this chapter, he provides us with the acts of knowledge to cut down our material attachment so that we can attain the devotional service. Kapil Dev also says that we have to see who we actually are, who are we really. So that seeing will happen only if we are doing the hearing, and hearing needs to be done from a proper authoritative source. We cannot have hearing done in a random form, listening to anybody. It should be under a parampara, a disciplic succession. It should be from proper authority. And the best authority we have is our beloved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already told us that Jivera Swarupo Hoy Krishnara Nitya Das. We are Das. He has already given us this knowledge that what is my constitutional, our constitutional position is to be the servant of the servant of the servant, right? So once we know our actual position, our actual place, then the knots of the material attachment do get disconnected. And many times people are not able to recognize their constitutional position is because of false ego, mithya ahankar. This mithya ahankar is a thing that doesn't let us allow to see our real position. If somebody calls me Das, then I would be offended. Why are you calling me Das? I am such a great personality. I have achieved this in my life, that in my life. And all this attitude is why? Because there is a lot of mithya ahankar, a lot of false ego. We are not seeing ourselves or understanding ourselves in the right way. And then going on to text 3, text 3, very important. This is one of the very important text. Here, Bhagavan is described as Anadi. Anadi is beginningless, and he's Purush. In the first line, we can see Anadi Ratma Purusho. So he is beginningless and he's Purush. So when I think about Purush, the Purush should have some sort of beginning, right? Whenever we get introduced to any personality, it's like, oh, when did this great personality come into existence? This is our basic concept. But my Prabhu helped me understand about Einstein's concept of time. So he called time as the fourth dimension. So whenever we have to buy a house, so what we see, what is the size of the house, what is the depth, how is it made, and we also consider the time factor. When was this made? How old is it? How new is it? Right? So this time factor also is very important for us in material world. But in Krishna Loka, Goloka, spiritual world, the time factor is not there. So there is only three factors, like we can measure a stuff, but we cannot understand the time because that factor was never there in the spiritual world. Hence, we don't know when did Bhagwan come into existence, because he was always there. The time factor is only made for the material world. So Bhagwan is beginningless. There is no beginning to him, but he is the cause of our beginning. We are here because of Krishna. And then one more thing is, he is a spirit which is all pervading. He is everywhere. It's a greater consciousness. So when we talk about consciousness, we know about consciousness. Now, my body is made out of matter. There is consciousness inside it, and the proof is that I am alive right now, right? So I'm moving around. So it means there is consciousness. So when I get hurt, I know I got hurt on my finger. If somebody pulls my hair, I know it was somebody pulled my hair, because there is a consciousness only in this body. So my consciousness can reach in this body. But if you get hurt, I will not know where you got hurt, because my consciousness will not tell me that, because it is limited. Krishna is not like that. Krishna is all pervading. His consciousness is everywhere. He knows about you. He knows about me. This is why he is the super soul. He knows about our past. He knows everything. Right? Like Prabhupada gave a very nice example in this term to understand. There is sunlight. So sunlight is there everywhere. It is there in the sky. It is there in the room. It is spread everywhere. It is but a small light, a bulb in a room, it is limited. It can only light up this room. Bulb in this room cannot light up the next room because it is limited. It cannot be everywhere. So we are that limited consciousness, and Krishna is the superior one, is Vibhu. So a supreme personality of Godhead is not temporary, and then he does not have a beginning, and he is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karana. He is also not subject to threefold of material miseries that we go through. We go through Adi, Daivik, Adi, Bhautik, Adi, Adhyatmik on daily basis. But Krishna, even though he made these modes of material nature, he is not affected by it. Why? Because he is Gunadhish. We are Gunadhin. We are under that jurisdiction. And Krishna is above all these things. And it is also explained in this purport that he is also Swayam Jyoti. What is Swayam Jyoti? Swayam Jyoti is lights himself. So, in science subject, when we were younger, we studied that moon gets its light from sun, and it reflects that light to us at night. So, a moon is getting light from sun. Where is the sun getting the light from? The sun is getting the light from Brahma Jyoti. And where is this Brahma Jyoti getting light from? That is from the effulgence of Krishna's beautiful body. That is where Brahma Jyoti is being light up. So you see, it is Krishna's energy in the form of sunlight, moonlight, that is pervading everywhere for us. So how he can spread himself, we can't. Right? This is why we are limited and he's unlimited. So, and in Krishna Lok, in Goloka, spiritual Lok, We learned in Bhagavad Gita 15.6, Na tadbhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka. Krishna does not need any kind of sun, moon, electricity, anything to light up his loka, because it is always bright and beautiful, and that tej, that effulgence is coming from Krishna's body himself. So we'll go on to the text 4. Text 4, here Krishna is, Kapil Dev is explaining that there are energies that are emanated from Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they're in two forms. One is the emanation from Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the other is covering to the Lord's face. So the whole world is under the material energy, and hence we can't see the Lord properly. And for that, Prabhupada gave an example of a cloud and a sun. So if there is sun and it is a cloudy day, so for the sun, it is creation of his own energy. How a cloud is made? Cloud is made by its own energy. The water evaporates, rises up, there is a cloud. Okay, so this is a cloud. And for us, the cloud is covering. We can't see the sun. Right? So it is two different concepts. The sun made the cloud, and for us, it is covering to my eyes. I cannot see the sun. So similarly, Krishna made the material energy. But Krishna is, the material energy is not completely covering Krishna, because she doesn't have that much capacity. It is just coming in front of my eyes, because of which I cannot see Krishna. What is this material energy? It is in form of ignorance, not having knowledge about Krishna. This is why I can't see Krishna. So this ignorance is not more powerful than Krishna. It is just coming in front of my eyes. And for that, what I need is knowledge to cut through it and be able to see the sun. So here Prabhupada also explains, wherever there is sun, there cannot be darkness. Right? You cannot say the sun has risen, but it is so dark today. No, that doesn't go hand in hand together. It doesn't fall in one concept. So wherever there is prakash, there is going to be knowledge of Krishna, knowledge of knowing who you really are. So why ignorance cannot cover Krishna? Because Krishna is Vibhu. And why our eyes get so easily bewildered and covered? Because we are very small, our intelligence is small, right? And Krishna is supreme. So we'll go to text number 5 over here. Okay. Material energy has the power to cover the knowledge, but material power does not work on Krishna. So it works on Praja. Praja is us, all of us, our Praja. Krishna is the Lord. He is the seed-giving father. He is the father of all the living entities in this world. So the material energy was accepted by the Lord because Lord wanted to do pastimes for the living entities. Why Krishna wanted to do pastimes? Because Bhagavad Gita 10.9, Machita Madgada Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam, in that shloka, Krishna says that my devotees, they sit together, they think about me, they talk about me, and they have a very wonderful time. For that purpose, Krishna is doing pastimes, right? So the same for whom? For the living entity. And the same living entity, instead of enjoying the pastimes of Krishna, is trying to lord it over the nature. Why? Because we are covered by the illusionary energy. This is also one of the very important purports that Prabhupada has written. Here, a question can rise: why did Bhagavan create material world in first place? What was the need? Was the need that living entities can suffer? So this is very important question that we need to understand. The living entity, the material world was made to rectify the enjoying temperament among the living entity. So we forget that we are not Bhuktaram. Who's Bhuktaram? Krishna is Bhuktaram. Bhagavad Gita, we read it in 5.29, Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasam. So why is there so much misery in our life? Because we are trying to enjoy. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy this particular aspect. So we forget that Das doesn't enjoy with material thing. Das is happy seeing his master enjoy. And master is Krishna and he is the Bhoktaram. So here Prabhupada also gave an example of police department. So why is there a police department in our society? What is the need? We don't have the need of having a police department. Everybody can live the way they want to live, but it doesn't work like that. There are some people who will not follow the law of the state and disrupt the normal livings of other living entities. So to bind them so that they don't misbehave and be troublesome for others, they are put into jail, right? Because they are creating problem. Because they have the nature of lording it over the nature that they can do anything, right? So this is why we have jail. Similarly, we have jail which is equal to material world, and we are all in jail right now. Why are we put over here? Because we had this nature that we want to enjoy everything on our own. Why should only Krishna be Bhoktaram? Why can't I also be the Bhoktaram? Right? So this kind of nature is there. It disrupts the function. So this is why when people are not behaving, they are put into the material world. Material world is jail. Guru Maharaj always says that what a beautiful jail Krishna created. There are many jails in this world that people can break and go out of. But this is such a jail that people don't want to break only. They don't want to get out of it only. They are happy sitting in this jail. So what a beautiful jail this material world is also. In this chapter, in this puppet, um, oh, I have one more example to give. Um, um, how Krishna does not come under the jurisdiction of modes of material nature. Suppose if a prime minister goes and visits a jail, so he's just checking how things are working over there. How are the people who are in the jail working? How is the system going on? So when he goes to the jail, he is not a person who is supposed to stay in the jail. He is not being punished over there. He's going there to check, right? None of the rules will imply on him. He can go in the jail and ask, "Bhai, I want to eat nice food. Bring nice food." Why? Because he's the prime minister. Similar cases with Bhagavan. When Krishna comes to this place, a material world, he is not in jail. He is beyond the jurisdiction of the modes of material nature. He's come for us, to check on us, to see if things are functioning well. So none of the rules of jail apply on a prime minister. Similarly, none of the modes of material nature apply on Krishna. It applies on us who are in jail. So not human. There are 84 lakh of species that a jivatma goes through. And why are there so many species? Because the Jivatma is forgetting its spiritual identity. It is getting covered by the material body. Once Jivatma is in a dog body, he starts thinking of himself like a dog. Monkey, monkey, human, human, the one who can enjoy, right? So we forget our spiritual identity, hence we have so many species and we have to go through so much. This is why in the shlok also, there is a word used, mumue. Yeah. And this indicates that we have forgotten our spiritual identity. Prabhupada also explains that every Jivatma has all the three gunas, Sattvic gun, Ratsik gun, Tamsik gun, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And he's given them colors like red, white, blue, right? Blue being, white is for mode of goodness. So that means every person, every living entity has all of these gunas in him. A living entity is considering this body as himself. When I tell you, who are you? You will consider yourself with the body. This is me. And this is moha. This is severe attachment. And because of this attachment, understanding your real constitutional position, understanding the knowledge of who Krishna is becomes very difficult. It is not easily attainable. In text 6, uh, Krishna Kapil Dev says that forgetfulness is one of the reason behind all these miseries. So where forgetfulness is like a diseased person. Suppose Prabhupada is giving an example. Suppose if a ghost overtakes your body, right? The person, suppose a ghost overtakes my body. I think I am doing everything as per my will, but no, that ghost who's haunting me is doing everything as per their desire and will. But what am I thinking? No, no, I'm doing everything as per my will. So we have learned this shloka, Prakriti Kriya Manani Gune Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. So we are doing everything as per the mode of the material nature in all these three gunas, under all these jurisdiction. But we think we are doing everything on ourselves. We get a good idea, we are like, oh my God, look at me. Such nice ideas I get. That is ahankar. Who gave you this idea? Krishna gave you this idea. If you are in a problem, you are in a problem because of your own deeds, right? So we are not able to function um, as per our desire. The desire of a Jivatma is to go back home, back to Godhead. But we are being covered by a lot of illusions, and hence we start working like that. And that is completely because of the forgetfulness of your spiritual identity. In text 7, Prabhupada says that Mayavadis are not able to differentiate between the pastimes and leelas of Bhagavan. So what they say, I'm talking about Mayavadis, what they say that because we are part of Bhagwan, we are also little Bhagwan. So we are Bhagwan, and whatever we are doing in our life, this is pastime. We are making leelas, whatever we are doing on daily basis. So we are not actually doing pastimes. We are doing time pass by not realizing who is Krishna. We are in no form, no way Bhagwan. We are Anu. We are very small living entities who have to serve Krishna, and only then the living entity will be happy. Otherwise, there is no way the living entity can be happy. It's only misery. Krishna says that the Maya, it is very powerful. And the only way to get out of it is complete helplessly you have to surrender to Krishna. Only then you can get out of it. There was one example that I heard in a lecture where suppose if I visit Mr. A's house, I go in the house, open the door, get inside Mr. A's house, and Mr. A has a dog. That dog starts barking and jumping on me very loudly, and I'm getting scared. So now what I can do? If I tell the dog, sit down, get away from me, the dog is not going to understand, nor is it going to listen to me, right? Because I'm not his master. But if I call out his master helplessly, Mr. A, help me, Mr. A, help me, Mr. A will hear that, come out downstairs and tell the dog to leave me alone. And the dog will leave me alone. Similarly, when I call out helplessly to Krishna for help, he is automatically going to tell the Maya to leave this devotee alone. And when Maya is not illusioning our brain, it is very easy and very clear to see Krishna. Right? So we're moving on to next text number 8. Okay. In this text, Prabhupada says that the Lord comes on his own will. This is why he is Atmamaya. He does not come because he's forced to. Do we come on our own will? No, we don't. We don't get to select who our parents will be, which country we will be born, which siblings we will have. Right? We have no choice. So when a person has no choice, that kind of person doesn't create pastimes and leelas. Okay? Krishna, he comes on his own will. Whenever he wants to come, he'll come. When he wants to go, he'll go. However he wants to do things, he can do. He's completely free. So this is why he is creating leela. We don't create leela. We can be a part of Krishna's Leela if Krishna desires so. Right? We can't make Leelas on our own. Every individual is responsible for his or her happiness or misery. And how is that? If the person is going to be Krishna conscious, he's going to be happy. And if the person is going to be material conscious, he's going to have misery. Very simple. There is no rocket science. You have to make a choice. There are only two choices: whether you enjoy on your own and then have to have misery all your life, or you be Krishna conscious, surrender to Krishna, and have happiness all your life. Very simple aspects we have. So, in 8.6 Bhagavad Gita also, I'll read the translation. It says, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So we get our body as per our karma only. Krishna is not forcing us into anything. People say, why is Krishna behind me? Why are things not happening nice for me? Krishna is not going to be behind you. This is your own karma, own actions for which you are getting reactions. To get rid of all the dirty reactions that are supposed to come our way, the only way is to surrender to Krishna helplessly. So here Devahuti Mataji is asking that kindly explain the characteristic of the Supreme Person and his energy both to me. So here in Purport, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is Maya Dhakshana. It means under his direction and under his will, the Prakriti works. The nature does not work on his own. People say things happen automatically in the nature. Automatically the sun comes, the water evaporates, and the rain comes. Automatically the cow will eat grass and then it will make milk. Nothing happens automatically. Everything happens as per Krishna's desire. Nothing for automatics also in this world, in material world, for doing things automatic also, there has to be a person who sat down there and introduced that system, right? So there has to be a source. For us, everything is Krishna. Everything comes under the jurisdiction of Krishna. And here, Mayavadis obviously think the other way, right? Text 10, here Bhagavan Uvacha. Here in this purport, Bhagavan is explaining about the difference between Pradhan, Mahat Tattva and Prakriti. So last night only, honestly, I heard this and I found it very, very helpful. It is from Radhesham Prabhuji's lecture. So how do we understand Pradhan, Mahat Tattva, Prakriti? For me, it is very difficult to understand, but he broke it down very nicely. Pradhan is like a 5-year-old girl. Mahat Tattva is like an 18-year-old girl. And Prakriti is like 28-year-old girl. Okay. So for 5-year-old girl, it is not possible to become a mother. Why? Because she is not developed that well. For an 18-year-old girl, that Mataji, 18-year-old, she can become a mother. And a 28-year-old girl, she already has a child in the womb. So she knows the aspect of becoming a mother. Similarly, Pradhan is in a dormant stage where the material elements, the modes of material nature have not become active yet, right? Things are there, but they are not active yet. In Mahat Tattva, modes of the material nature are active, but no jivas are there. So once Mahavishnu glances over Mahat Tattva, it impregnates Mahat Tattva and Prakriti comes into existence. So this is the explanation which we can find in text 10 purport. Text 11. Text 11 talks about how Pradhan, the dormant stage, has 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 object acquiring senses, 5 gross element, and then there are other 4: intelligence, false ego, combination of modes of nature, and mind. We constitute all these together and we get the 24 elements of Pradhan. And in text 12, There's just a basic description. It says that there are 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, air, fire, ether. There are also 5 subtle elements: smell, taste, color, touch, and sound. And further, we'll study about this in detail. So, thank you, Prabhuji. Please correct if there are any mistakes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for the wonderful